Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that a lot of people struggle with remembering new words. I often hear from friends and students that no matter how hard they try to memorize new vocabulary, the words just slip away. It's a common problem, but the good news is there are effective strategies you can use to overcome it. So, if you've ever felt like your brain is a sieve when it comes to learning new words, stick around because this episode is for you. Let's start with why remembering new words can be so challenging. Our brains are constantly processing information. New words, tasks, conversations, and distractions all come at us throughout the day. Unless we actively work to commit those new words to memory, they're likely to be forgotten. It's like learning any new skill. If you don't practice, you lose it. But here's the thing, there is a way to remember those words, and it all starts with practice. The first and most important step is to make learning new words part of your daily routine. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that learning vocabulary is something they can do once in a while and still expect great results. But let me tell you, it doesn't work that way. Just like with exercising or learning an instrument, you need consistency. So, my advice is to make a habit of practicing new words every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. How do you practice, though? Well, one effective way is by using new words in sentences. Many people make the mistake of just memorizing the definitions, but that's not enough. To really remember a word, you need to use it in context. By putting it in a sentence, you give the word meaning and relevance in your everyday life. And even better, try to form multiple sentences with the same word. The more you practice, the more it becomes part of your natural vocabulary. Another strategy is to practice words in paragraphs, not just isolated sentences. Why? Because our brains are better at remembering words when they're connected to a larger context. Think about it this way. If you learn the word exhilarating, it might be tough to remember if you only learn the definition. But if you read a paragraph that describes an exhilarating experience, like riding a roller coaster or winning a sports competition, the word comes to life. You'll associate it with a real feeling, making it easier to recall. Listening is also key. One of the best ways to remember new words is to hear them repeatedly. When you hear words spoken aloud, it activates different parts of your brain than when you simply read them. So, if you're serious about expanding your vocabulary, start incorporating listening into your routine. Find tapes, podcasts, or audiobooks where new vocabulary is used in context and listen to them every day. The more you expose yourself to the sound of new words, the more natural they'll feel to you. Now, some people might say, but I do all of that and I still forget the words. If that's you, don't worry. There's still hope. Repetition is your best friend when it comes to learning vocabulary. You might not remember a word the first time or even the second time you encounter it, but if you keep seeing and hearing that word, eventually it will stick. In fact, studies show that it can take seeing a word multiple times, sometimes as many as 10 or 20 times, before it becomes part of your long-term memory. So be patient with yourself and keep practicing. Another powerful tool for remembering words is visualization. When you learn a new word, try to associate it with a mental image. For example, if you're learning the word serene, imagine a calm, peaceful beach or a quiet park. By connecting the word to a visual image, you're creating a memory that's much easier to recall than just a definition. You can even draw a quick sketch of what the word makes you think of, or find pictures that match the word and review them regularly. Let's talk about the power of reviewing what you've learned. I can't emphasize enough how important this is. Even if you've memorized a word today, if you don't review it, chances are you'll forget it tomorrow. So set aside time each week to go back and review the words you've learned. You can use flashcards, apps, or even just a notebook where you jot down new vocabulary. Reviewing your words helps reinforce them in your memory and makes it easier to recall them later when you need them. One of my favorite ways to practice vocabulary is by engaging in conversations with friends who are also learning. You see, learning doesn't have to be a solo activity, it can be a team effort. Find a friend who is also trying to improve their vocabulary and challenge each other to use new words in conversations. The more you use new words in a social context, the more comfortable you'll become with them. Plus, it's always more fun to learn with someone else. If you need more help or feel stuck, don't hesitate to ask others for support. Whether it's a teacher, a friend, or even an online community, there are always people willing to help you on your language learning journey. Remember, learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint, and you don't have to do it alone. We're all in this together, and as friends, we can support each other as we conquer new words. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you that learning vocabulary is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight, but with dedication and the right strategies, you can absolutely master it. So, to summarize the key points, practice new words every day. Use words in sentences and paragraphs to create context. Listen to new words regularly through tapes, podcasts, or conversations. Don't be afraid of repetition. It takes time to commit new words to memory. Visualize words with mental images to strengthen recall. Review your vocabulary consistently to keep it fresh in your mind. Practice speaking with friends to make learning more fun and effective. And remember, if you ever feel discouraged, just keep going. Vocabulary learning is a process, and every day you practice brings you one step closer to fluency. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the podcast. I hope these tips help you on your journey to mastering new words. If you have any questions or need more advice, feel free to reach out. Let's conquer vocabulary together. Until next time, keep learning and stay motivated.